Dragon Ball Daima has the perfect opportunity to do something that Dragon Ball Super hasn't, and that's to be a good follow-up to Dragon Ball Z. As popular as Super was, we all know that it had its shortcomings. The overall plot as a whole, the abuse of transformations, the regression of certain characters. Dragon Ball Super, at least to me and a lot of people, it didn't mesh well as a follow-up to Dragon Ball Z. So Dragon Ball Daima has the opportunity to rectify the mistakes that Super laid out. Now the only way Dragon Ball Daima truly fails is if it removes the Dragon Ball name in general. With that said, Super is considered a success even though it has a bunch of shortcomings. So with Dragon Ball Daima, to appease both the investors and the people watching the show, there are three main things that the show needs to have in order for it to grant well for both of us. The first being that this can't be Dragon Ball's version of Teen Titans Go. What I mean is, it can't be a more childish version of the original series. Now, the original Teen Titans was beloved by many for its composure of both seriousness and comedic value. Something Teen Titans Go just flat out disregards in terms of seriousness, but over expunges upon in terms of comedic value. Now, even though Teen Titans Go has proven to be successful for Cartoon Network, it still left a lot of people wondering, man, we could have gotten the original Teen Titans series back so that it can finish what it started. I bring this up in relation to Dragon Ball because based on the trailers that we've seen of Dragon Ball Daima, it seems to be more a kiddish version of the previous series, Dragon Ball Z and even Dragon Ball Super. Now, you compare it to the original Dragon Ball, so far it doesn't seem that far off. You know, Dragon Ball in general had a healthy balance of really both comedic and seriousness. I can actually more so argue was more comedic than more serious, if you can believe that. You know, we had a bunch of violent natures throughout the show, but we still felt more at peace with those fights, at least in the beginning of Dragon Ball in comparison to Z and Super. I say all that to say I don't want it to delve too deep into the comedic value for Dragon Ball Daima, as it's just gonna delude people wanting to watch the show, at least for people like me. Which brings me to my next point, in that we cannot let this be another Dragon Ball GT. That was already a criticism ever since the first trailers dropped, in that we see basically the premise of GT in the trailers without really it being told to us what it actually is. We see Goku and his friends become children and they seem to be embarking on adventures throughout this galaxy or whatever, which was pretty much Dragon Ball GT, at least for the first half of it. That premise in of itself isn't bad, but we remember the execution of how it was done in GT and we don't want that to repeat it again, so let's just not do that, okay? Let's actually have proper writing. Let's have the supporting cast actually be useful and not shoved to the wayside. I don't know why everyone is children nowadays, and I think I even seen in the trailer that Trunks and Goten were actually babies. We don't know the context as of yet, so I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, but whatever they are doing, I'm hoping that it's a proper execution in comparison to GT, at least story-wise. Which leads me to my next and final point, being that the inclusion of Akira Toriyama's work needs to be heavily present. What I mean by that is, even though Dragon Ball Super is considered canon, most of Super, even in the manga, is more so outlines of what Akira Toriyama wanted. He let the writers and the staff of the anime and manga dictate how each of the events that Akira Toriyama wanted to happen. So it's not really fully him that was saying, oh, Goku should say this, Goku should say that, but gave a underlying detail of the arc itself and then what in general should happen. But like in the middle is where things tend to have a bit more freedom, especially with the anime version. He oversees a lot of the stuff in the manga, but more so the work is given to Tortaro, his successor. So I'm hoping whatever Akira Toriyama laid out before his passing is fully realized in the show, so that we can fully critique it based on the author's true intentions. Other than that, I just overall hope that the show in of itself is good, regardless of what I said previously. It's not like I'm expecting this show to rival Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, but I just hope that because this is a newer series and I grew up with Super as it was airing, I know the shortcomings of it. I don't want that to be repeated for this new series as well. I'm overall hoping for the best. But that being said, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Dragon Ball Daima will be a success? What issues do you have going into the show, if you have anything to begin with? And what are you most hopeful for? I'd love to get y'all's thoughts, so let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to see more videos like this, click the card you see here, which will take you to my video on why people hate Gohan and why I think they are wrong to do so. I'm the Curly Haired Hokage, and I hope you all have an amazing and blessed day. Peace.